Hello, everyone. It's James here. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. So, I wanted to talk to you today about self belief and how it relates to self discipline. And I guess I can start talking about that by taking ourselves back to around 2016. I feel like 2016 was when I was at my heaviest weight. So, for those of you that don't know, my heaviest recorded weight is 490 pounds, or was 490 pounds. So, potentially, my weight would have been a fair bit heavier than that. But I decided to be a big old scaredy cat and not bother weighing myself anymore after that. And at that weight, I felt resigned to a certain fate. I felt resigned to just going to work, coming home, eventually not being able to go to work, just staying at home all day, every day, doing nothing, and waiting for the end, basically. And that's a very stark thing to say, but I felt like at the time that was true a very true conclusion for my life. And a lot of it was because I lacked any self belief, any self esteem. It was all lacking. And there was nobody and nothing that could pull me out of it. And it was a big struggle for many years. And even after I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in 2017. If anything, that made me worse. If anything, that kind of made me spiral into my into an even deeper depression, into a negative self-esteem, maybe a negative self-belief. Me thinking that I just couldn't do, I just couldn't do anything. Even the basics. Like I couldn't wash myself, I couldn't cook, I couldn't clean, all those kind of things like that. I felt like it was all a waste of time, and I felt that like there was nothing that could be done for me. Even people who tried to kind of pull me out of things were struggling with me, and I've definitely lost. I've definitely lost a few people through my lack of self belief, my lack of self esteem, and unfortunately, that's just how things go, you know. And I look back at that, and I do regret some of the things that I did say to people about me, just not being able to do things, and that's by the by anyway. I'm a bit of a rambler, you guys know that. Um, so yeah, my self belief was in the toilet. I was over 35 stone. I had type 2 diabetes. I was getting close to using the option of bariatric surgery, weight loss surgery, as a way to, at the very least, help me to lose weight. And I know looking back on that, that would have also been a bad idea because mentally I was checked out. And if you're mentally checked out, you're not looking after yourself. So I would have had half the stomach, but I'd have still probably eaten the same amount of food, you know? So that would have been potentially incredibly dangerous for me. So yeah, that was a bit of a shitter. So yeah, I lack self belief, and I did look at, when you Google stuff and you're like, I'm so depressed. What do I do? And you do get these articles that are like 65 billion things that you can do to make you 0.5% less depressed on a weekday. And I was reading them, and there was one thing that stood out to me, and it was if you can't be happy, then fake being happy. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I could do that because I do it every day, you know. Um, I I used to just like pretend that everything was okay and pretend that everything was all right, and obviously inside I was um hurting immensely. And I thought, do you know what? Everything else has failed. Why don't I try it? And it took a long while. It took a few years. And in 2022, after my nan died, I was homeless for about 6 months. Well, semi homeless. I was couch surfing basically. And it was an incredible time of change. I didn't really know what I was doing. And as somebody who was already in a massive depression state anyway, I was just, yeah, I was absolutely inconsolable. And I was in dire straits and I had to do something. And it was a case of just, if I can't be happy, pretend to be happy, pretend to believe in myself, pretend to believe that things were going to get better. And it was almost like believing you're in a fairy tale, believing that you're the protagonist that's gonna get all the riches, that's gonna get the significant other, that's gonna be the king of the castle at the end of the story. And I was sat there on the sofa in the middle of the night, ruminating and just constantly thinking of things in my head. And I just had to think, well, it can't get it can't get any worse than this. Nowhere to call home. Absolutely, miss the person that's looked after me my whole life. And yeah, it doesn't get any worse than this. So why not pretend it's getting better? And without me realizing it, things did actually tangibly get better. Um, I cooked myself a pasta dish, and before then, I was just resorting um, to like ready meals and stuff like that. I cooked myself a pasta dish, and it was just a simple um, fusilli with tomato sauce and ham, and that that meal actually served as tangible proof that I could do something. It served as a real manifestation of a success. And it was just a simple. I'm getting emotional thinking about it now, and it's so odd because yes, you think it, yeah, it's just a meal. We cook 3 meals a day, right? But at that time, I was subsisting on takeaways and ready meals and crisps and shit food like that. But I thought, what's the worst that could happen? It's gonna taste like shite because maybe I can't remember how to cook. But luckily, I did remember how to cook, and the simple meal turned out perfectly. And you know that satisfaction that you get when you cook a good meal, and you think, damn, I could do that every day for the rest of my life. And I thought to myself, shit, if I can do that now, then I can keep doing that, and I can keep making meals, and I can keep looking after myself. Now, that's not to say that all of a sudden I was a cordon bleu. I was Gordon Ramsay. I was, I was still struggling and I was still getting takeaway meals and stuff like that. But I was incorporating more of my own meals into the day and making sure that I was at least, if I was having shit meals, I was at least spacing them out. I wasn't having a ton of stuff within an hour. I was having one meal 4 or 5 hours, one meal 4 or 5 hours, another meal. And that really helped. That really helped with me to get the idea that I should really believe in myself more, because I always was like, even if it was something simple, I was always like, no, I can't do that. It's too difficult, or it will make me too tired, and things like that. And it got to a point where I thought, well, if I can do this, maybe I can do something else. And I stepped outside the front door one day and I walked to the end of the road and I stood there and I took in the cold air, because it was like November, December time, something like that. I took in the cold air and I thought, shit, I can walk a distance. And even though I was sweating like a bishop in a brothel. I I was like, yeah, I did it. The sweat, oh, sorry, the sweat that was coming off my brow was just filling me with joy, because it was a tangible feeling of the hard work that I put in. And that was another thing that that got me thinking, was that the success that I was having cooking a single meal, walking up 50 to 100 meters in one go, that was success, because I'd always figured success would be something major, like, you know, doing a marathon, um, I don't know, losing 200 pounds, you know, things like that. But success can just be something incredibly small. Success can be the 1% that goes towards the rest of your life. And as I was achieving more and more, I started to believe in myself more and more. And it was just with small things that I was doing from day to day. So things like doing the laundry would be something that would be an achievement for me on the day. And if the depression got really bad, getting out of bed and washing myself, you know, that would be a victory as well. Um, so with those tiny successes, I started to recompose myself as a human being and get into believing myself more. And that was just an absolutely mind blowing situation, because I'd finally felt like I'd kind of cracked a code, and I was there being a human living, you know, and that was absolutely incredible. And if I could believe in myself, then I could have the discipline to do these things all the time. I could form good habits and be able to actually, you know, get things rolling. And I thought I was losing weight in 2020, but I spoke to my partner, and he feels like actually the weight loss was more of an endeavor in like late 2022, which I think I agree with, because, you know, 2020 to 2022 was when I'd quit teaching and when my nan had cancer, so I was looking after her. So I don't think I really had the time to, I didn't have the time to lose weight. So all of this kind of um, bettering of myself, I guess, is a very recent thing. And some people are amazed at how quickly um, I'm becoming more and more motivated and disciplined. Um, and I say to them that, you know, you don't need to compare yourself to anyone. Your your progress is your own and it's not anybody else's. And there's so many people now that get in touch with me and say that I'm an inspiration to them, and it's such a humbling thing, and a wonderful thing, really. And you know, they ask me for my advice about things like losing weight, about exercise, about discipline. And when it comes to discipline, I just tell them that it's the small things every day that will come together to form your discipline. And the best way I can put it is to say that you don't need to worry about the end goal. You just need to look at what you're doing every day and focus on making those little things better every day. And that will get you to at least look at the systems that you've got, um, that will get you to where you need to be. And yeah, the discipline will come because it has to, because there will be days when motivation is gone. Motivation will not be there, and you have to look at yourself in the mirror and think, do you know what? I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway, because once I've done it, how good am I going to feel? I'm going to feel absolutely fantastic and a bit sweaty. um, so yeah, that's basically it. I know it's a bit rambly, but that's just me. I'm a very rambly person. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you got to the end, leave a comment telling me about your experiences with any goals that you've succeeded at. I'd love to hear from you. So yeah, thank you all so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.